Hey guys, before we start this episode, I wanted to talk to you about Type 1 lifting. So, Type 1 lifting is a clothing line that proceeds of the shirts and tanks and everything else goes to the Children's Diabetes Foundation. So, this all came about with me and seeing a 5-year-old girl in the emergency department that had new onset of diabetes. So, just take a look at the website. It's www.type1lifting.com. So just check it out. If you don't buy anything, that's perfectly fine. I would just like for you just to take a look and just see what we have. So, like I said before, www.type1lifting.com. And guys, I hope you enjoy the show. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Type 1 Lifting Podcast. I have 2021 CrossFit Games athlete Hannah Hardy. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Not bad. How does it feel when someone says CrossFit Games athlete?
Surreal. I mean, it's been a dream of mine since starting CrossFit. So just to finally hear those words, I don't know. I still get goosebumps every time.
Yeah, very cool. So, you live in Florida right now. So are you originally born and raised there, or?
No. So I actually moved down here a couple of years ago for chiropractic school.
Okay.
So I'm originally from Virginia, Richmond area, and pretty much born and raised there. Went to college at the University of Virginia, and then, like I said, moved down here a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So you planning to stay down there, or you planning to move up to Virginia?
I kind of like it down here. At first, I thought I was going to spend 3 years here and then get out as fast as possible. But, people aren't crazy down here.
No.
Kind of like it.
They're quasi. I mean, I live in Atlanta now, so I'm originally from Massachusetts. So one thing I always tell people, I'm like, I don't miss the weather.
No,
I don't miss the snow because people can't drive in the snow down here. So people are a little bit nicer, I think.
No, that's exactly what I think. Like, even it's crazy when I go back to Virginia because, obviously my parents are there. My best friends are there. And going back, it's just a weird vibe. And I love being in Florida. And like I said, my gym, they just welcome me with open arms. And I can just talk to anyone around me and they're smiling and just having a good time.
Very cool. So when did you start doing CrossFit?
So I started like 6.5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was a senior in high school when I started. I decided instead of playing basketball because I'm 5'4", probably wasn't going anywhere with that. Just to give CrossFit a shot because one of my family friends did it, and I actually was watching. I watched the 2014 games with my dad on ESPN. And he always said, my family friend did it. I was like, heck yeah, I want to do all of that stuff. And of course, not like that, but I remember just getting like trashed by wall balls. I couldn't do a toe to bar. I was so mad. All this other stuff. But so I started then, and I was hoping it would also help me train for the Naval Academy.
Okay. Because
that was my original thought before chiropractic school. So I wanted to join the Navy, be a Navy diver. And right before CrossFit, I was actually in the hospital because I took training way too seriously. I wasn't the fittest kid, but I played all sports. And I actually lost this essential fat pad in between one of my major arteries in the small intestine.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so it actually collapsed in my small intestine. I couldn't digest food. It was crazy. I was hospitalized 3 different times for it. And from there, I got out and just decided, I was like, I'm going to do CrossFit. They're very big into, again, lifting weights, eating the right things. And that was the first time where I was like, oh, wait, you have to eat more than just egg whites and a couple pieces of fruit and broccoli. And I'm training 2 hours, doing runs, doing just like high intensity training. And like, if it wasn't for CrossFit, I like definitely would not be here today. It definitely saved me mentally.
Very cool.
So that was pretty much how I started CrossFit. And then from there, of course, as you see, the Naval Academy or the Navy didn't work out. I was medically disqualified because of that. So in undergrad, I just took on kinesiology and dove deep in the CrossFit as an athlete and a coach.
Very cool. So when you were doing kinesiology in school, were a lot of the teachers like, you know, kind of not bashing, but like kind of like not really appreciating CrossFit and like the way that we see it?
Oh yeah, I was definitely not picked on, but they would just like throw out CrossFit, and pretty much it'd be like a lecture hall of 100 people, and we pretty much knew everybody. So as soon as that word showed up, everybody like looked at me, and I was like, well, I'm a coach, and I don't think I'm a bad coach, and I wouldn't want to hurt somebody. And I mean, and I think like the coolest part about being in CrossFit and in the program was, at least when the professors talked to me, they said, okay, I know at least the people that are under you are going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that more and more they realize that we're totally doing safe things in CrossFit and just everything like that. But I don't know, at least I left them with a better picture once I went through the program.
Very cool. So did you have your level 2 already while you were going to kinesiology school, or when did you started getting the certifications?
Yeah, so I got my L1, I think 2 months into my first year at UVA. And then I got my L2 I took a gap year in between undergrad and chiropractic school, and that's when I got my L2. So it was like pretty much, I was like a CrossFit addict. So I started coaching immediately when I was in undergrad.
Very cool. So what was the difference between L1 and L2? Because I've always wanted to get my L1, just never had the chance to. So, but like, what have you seen like as a difference between those two?
So the L1 is just, I don't want to say it's just like a lot of like sitting down and just learning what CrossFit is all about, but it's a lot of definitions. It's learning like what are the points of performance of the squat, press, clean, jerk, snatch, and all of that. And then with the L2, that's when you get to work on coaching, which is super cool. So we work on how to cue, what different cues they are, how to run a class, time management, personality, like all that, those like little nuances that I'd say like the L1, it makes you a good instructor, but the L2 actually makes you a good coach.
Okay, very cool. Do you remember who your L1 instructors were?
So actually my L1 and L2 had the same guy. His name's Jason Fernandez. He's out of CrossFit Rife in Virginia Beach.
Okay.
Super cool guy. And it was so fun. Like my L2, we had, I think 7 or 8 people because it was right before Christmas. And like as soon as he saw me, he was like, wait, I think I taught you before. I was like, yeah, it was like 5 years ago. And I'm like, I'm like such a different person from like 2015 Hannah to that was like 2019 Hannah. So I was like, he was probably just like, what happened to you? I'm like, CrossFit happened to me.
Very cool, very cool. So you're a Misfit athlete. So and also I also follow the program too. I drink the Kool-Aid, like I've said before. So when did you get involved with working with the Misfit team?
So just like Misfit in general, I think it was after the 2017 Open. I wasn't happy with my performance, and I finally wanted to get on a competitive program. Like I've dabbled around. I mean, I feel like everyone kind of like cherry picks here and there, like, oh, I'm gonna do Invictus this day and comp train this day and all of them. So there was actually a guy at my gym that followed Misfit, and I was like, you know what? I want to start safe. I'm going to do it with him. So I actually have a training buddy. And from there, I trained from, so the end of the open to, I'd say like August. And then I thought that was actually going to be my last year actually having a chance to compete before going to chiropractic school. So I got remote coaching from them, and Dex Hopkins was my coach.
Oh, nice.
Oh my gosh. I love that man. He is hilarious.
Yes.
I was like the only girl in the group, and that's how like I met Brendan and just like a bunch of my best friends. And so I was with Dex for a year and a half, and then from there I actually switched to Austin Spencer, who's my coach currently.
Okay.
So I feel like, I mean, I've been with Misfit for forever now, and that community is by far the best community. I've met my best friends. I'm going to Maine next week. I'm just like, and plus, I mean, my fitness, I don't think I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be at the games if it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had a big jump from 2018 to 2019 in the open. So you were like, I think I don't have the numbers in front of me, but like you were like in the 2000s, then you had like a big jump into the hundreds. So what was the big change in your life that caused you to get to that higher up in the open?
Man, so I guess there's like, I graduated undergrad, and I don't want to say it was like super stressful or anything. I mean, I'm way more stressed now, but I think it was just with all of Dex's coaching and all the one-on-one stuff. And what normally tanks me in the open is the lift. And then also just that high skill gymnastics. Those are the two things when I signed on with remote coaching. I was like, hey, like I need help with these. Like I'm going nowhere by myself. And also in that 2019 season, I took my gap year. So I was living at home, and I had at the gym that I went to and coached at, we had a actually like pretty good sized group of athletes there who also followed Misfit. That's how I knew of them.
Okay, cool.
And so actually won with the semifinals this year as an individual, because he could go team with me because we went team together a bunch of times. But I really do think it was both having Dex and that core training group, and they're all better than me. And surrounding yourself with people who are better than you is by far like probably how you skyrocket. Because when I was in undergrad, I did have my friend. After I'd say like a few months, he kind of like went by the wayside, and I just didn't know what to do. So I just, of course, still followed Misfit. And at least I had like a texting group with Dex and all of his athletes. But once I moved gyms and had people to train with, I was like, oh, that's how you go fast. Oh, okay, this guy can already snatch 300, and I'm over here snatching 125 as my 1 rep max. And just like seeing what's possible, I think that's what skyrocketed me.
Yeah. So I train all by myself, especially early in the morning. So yeah. Typically what I do is I kind of look at the scoreboard, and some people have already posted because they're in Europe. So I'm like, okay, so I'll just put mine in there, and it's like it's good to see and kind of see what else somebody else's time is. Say if it's like a 6-minute workout, and this guy finished it in like 5:30, and I'm like, okay, I want to get it in 5:20, something like that. So,
right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry.
No, you're good. It's good to have see the messages, and everyone's not like talking shit to each other too. So it's all like everyone's like, hey, nice job, awesome, congrats.
Right. And I mean, like I said, like I have my best friend through Misfit. So it literally started with just commenting on each other's stuff. I'm like, how did you go so fast? Or once I gotten to know them, I'm like, oh yeah, I like destroyed you in your wheelhouse workout. How does that feel? Just like things like that. And yeah, it's really cool just to have a score or have someone beside you. And you don't know like how much you can push without having some incentive, I think.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So you went to the Macc this year as a team. So before you even making it to the Macc, like how did you pick your team, and like what were obviously there was like 100-mile radius they had to be in, but like how were you guys able to pick the team that you guys have that made it to the games?
So with us at our gym, we actually have a lot of good competitors. So we had two teams that came from West Chase. We have two locations. So we had like one under one location, one under the other. And just to set teams, I don't know. I didn't feel like it was like a tryout by any means, but I think just what we did is we took, our best guy, Aaron Hanna. He's been to the games before. He went in 2015. So obviously he's going to be on like our A team. And then from the guys, we've had like a multi-time regional athlete, and he lives about like 40 miles away. He's a firefighter in Lakeland, Florida. So, and his name's Dylan. So we knew he was going to be on the team. But then from the girls, we have probably 6 girls that could actually be on that A team. So with us, it was kind of like, all right, let's see who does well in the open, who's going to be more consistent, who's going to make the overall team better. And that's kind of like how we boiled it down to, okay, both me and Kim are probably the strongest of the 6 girls. And then even though like our gymnastics might not be as great as the girls on the Granite Games team or our like running conditioning, we knew that we had less holes. So that's kind of like how we got on that team, or at least a team.
Yeah. So was the Macc your guys' first choice?
Yeah. So Macc was our first choice just because it was closest. I mean, I love Macc too. Like this would have been, if it wasn't for 2020, my 3rd time qualifying for Macc. So I was like, yeah, let's go. It has some good vibes to it.
Yeah, very cool. So what were the vibes? Obviously with COVID kind of put a damper on it, but what were the vibes in Knoxville during the Macc?
Actually, Knoxville was incredible. So, I mean, first of all, just checking in, it was so cool just seeing friends again, because it was like, okay, so I was at Wadapalooza in 2020, right before everything shut down. And that was the last time I saw a lot of people. And just to like come in and probably like every 10 feet, just see somebody I know, give a hug, ask them how their year and a half has been. Like that was so much fun. And also just like the coolest part about competing too is meeting new people. Mm-hmm. So like, all the teams that we went against, they're so nice. And I don't know, like, it's like, all right, man, I made like some really good friends now, just like after this weekend. And it just felt like normal again. I mean, granted, like I said, there's COVID precautions and all of that, but I mean, it was nice just to be around people and around people that are loving what they're doing, you know?
Yeah, very cool. So I've never touched the worm before, so I mean, I would love to like give it a whirl, but obviously I'd probably be in the front since I'm so tall, so I'm 6'6". So how do you guys like as a team like manage it? Like obviously it's very vocal and stuff like that. So can you just like walk through of like how you guys like lift it over the head and kind of pace yourself throughout the whole thing?
Yeah. So to preface, we're probably not like the best team with the worm. We've gotten a lot better. But so we pretty much, like you said you be in the front. Yeah, we put Aaron in the front. He's like 6'1" or 6'2". We try to put him as far away from me because I'm 5'4". And it's a disaster when we're like next to each other. You could actually see that at the games, how it's a disaster when we're next to each other. And so from there, normally we'll immediately put our hands under. So let's say it's like we're putting on our right shoulder. Our right arm is going to be closest to us underneath the bag. Our left arm is going over the bag. And then we normally just say go. So we've gone from just saying ready, go, and we just try to get that transition further down. Plus it just gasses the person who talks. So from there, I mean, we'll all lift at the same time. I'm normally looking at Dylan, who's in front of me, just to like make sure that I'm not going faster than he is pulling it up or vice versa. And then from there, I mean, it's pretty much, I just try to like muscle clean it to my shoulder. I don't like, stop at the hip. It's like if you had like 100-pound sandbag yourself and you're like, oh man, yeah, I can just like easily just like chuck it up here. I don't have to re-grip and then throw it over my shoulder. It's very similar with the worm.
Okay.
It's like if you slow it down, it makes it a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite workout during the Macc?
All right. During Macc, man, I don't know what my favorite event is. I would say like, okay, like memory wise, it was the lift. I'm like I said before, I am not known for being a strength athlete. I normally tank the team because of my strength. And like in 2019 at Macc, I hit 190 for the clean and jerk. Cause we pretty much had the same event. And then, 2 years later, I hit 225. And I mean, that was a PR for me. But just like seeing that, from that moment, I was like, oh, we made the games. And just like, and I guess having that confidence all the way throughout Macc just made Macc so much better.
Very cool.
So that's probably like what like comes out in my mind as like my favorite event.
Very cool. And I believe, what place did you guys make it after the end of the Macc? Was it second or third?
Yeah, we got third at Macc.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously when one of the teams all you guys got tested after, and one of the teams got popped for performance enhancing drugs. So what was your thought going through that when you heard that story?
I guess getting to know that team really well over the weekend. That was one of the teams that we talked to a lot in the warm up area. I mean, it broke my heart, and like I listened to that the girl's story and all of that, and I don't know. You can I don't want to say like I could tell that like she wasn't taking, because I mean I don't know for a fact, but it sounded like a contaminated supplement kind of deal, and I mean, my heart just like broke for her, and my heart broke for the team, because I mean, obviously the other three like didn't really know the situation as well, because she was serving a ban from the like USA weightlifting, so, and I don't know if like they knew either. So I mean, like I said, it just like broke my heart. But I mean, with Reignited, I was super stoked for them. I've known them over the years, being like super close to North Carolina, where they're from. So it was kind of like a bittersweet moment. Like, of course I wanted On Track to go, but seeing Reignited go, and especially go crush the games, is really cool.
Yeah, very cool. So when you guys got when they called your name for like the top 5, obviously you guys were pretty excited. So like, did you guys celebrate at the end, or like what was going through your guys' minds like when you got announced for third place?
Well, Kim and I started crying. Just just being like girls, I guess. But like, she's been working it for 8 years. There's me working for 6, and it was just like such a surreal moment. But after that was announced, I mean, we got drug tested. And then we got to try on like all this Noble stuff. Like they had Noble at the event, and they said, hey, like we need all your sizes, so have fun trying stuff on. So just gotta, I totally wish I don't want to say like wanted to like steal stuff, but I really wanted that bathing suit. I think the bathing suit was out like literally 3 days like before Macc. So I was like, I could take this right now. I could somehow take this home with me. But like after that, we went and got brunch because it was like noon, and just like had a good time. We didn't like go and party and whatnot. Aaron had all of his family with him and his 2 kids. And I think Dylan wanted to see the individuals go because we had a stacked field. But I mean, Kim and I enjoyed ourselves.
Very cool. Very cool. So did anybody from the Misfit crew, like, kind of coach you guys or anything like that throughout the whole process of the Macc?
Not at Macc, but at the games, it was a little bit better just because like they were actually there. I'm the only one on my team that follows Misfit, so I would text Austin pretty much after every event, be like, hey, this is how it went. And then before each event and leading up, of course, I would just talk to him and be like, I don't know if like, I'm just like just talk about strategy, especially at Macc, there was a lot of relay events. So I was the only one out there. Mm-hmm. So it was really easy to talk to Austin and be like, hey, there's 15 ring muscle ups. How should I break this up? Or how should I game, like there's a bike burpee box jump over heavy dumbbell snatch, and the heavy dumbbell snatch gave me an issue. So at least like talking to him about that stuff. But overall, we actually kind of like coached ourselves as a team.
Okay, very cool. And so when you finally got to Madison for the games and you walked into your locker or whatever, do they have lockers for you? And like, did you see all the gear and you're like, holy shit, look at all this stuff for me?
Yeah. So what happened was like, so we checked in and then they took us back, and like you saw like how they had like that locker room set up. So it's like we had our own name placard, and then we had a book bag, our opening ceremony gear, and then all the shoes kind of like lined up in like cubbies underneath a bench. And just seeing that was so cool. So we stared at that for like 60 seconds, and then all of a sudden here comes like the Noble staff with like 2 duffel bags for all of us, and they're like, again, and then just like Macc, it's like, hi, have fun trying all of this on. And it was so insane, so overwhelming, just how they like treated us. Because I think like I've been at competitions in the past, I mean like at Wadapalooza, where if you weren't in the individual division, they kind of just like sloughed you to the side, and they made sure that like every single athlete felt like 1 in a million out there. So that was one of the highlights of the trip. Very for cool. Sure.
I mean, I saw people walking with like a backpack and 2 duffel bags in each arm, and I'm like, how are these like people in other countries gonna be able to ship all this stuff back home?
No, I don't know. Like we like flew Frontier back, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm spending $130 to check these duffel bags, and I'm like, I have no clue how I'm gonna get these home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but just, and even like Aaron was talking about how Reebok kind of did their deal, and he was like, this was nothing like it. Like Reebok was just like, here, bye, and just like this one was just so above and beyond. It was just so cool. I hope they continue this, not just being like, okay, this is our first year and all right, we can now like dial it back. It's like, no, like this was so cool.
I have a feeling they're going to just keep on going with this, because everyone sees all the athletes with like 3 duffel bags, and they're like, whoa, that's amazing. And then like the next year they come back with like 2 duffel bags and no backpack. You're like, the news, like everyone that talks about the news is going to be like, oh, they're cheaping out and stuff. So I don't think they do that.
I know, it's like, oh man, Noble lost money, but hey, I mean, especially like A, how their athletes did at the games. B, Caleb Dressel freaking crushing the Olympics. I mean, I don't even know like how Noble gets these athletes, and then now they're set with those 2, like both like CrossFit and like the like pinnacle of Olympic swimming right now. I hope they like keep it up.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it granted, like I think since it's like a smaller brand compared to Reebok, and the good thing is it's like homegrown in CrossFit, so I think there's definitely more room to grow. I mean, everyone, like there's a lot of people that are like fanboys with the shoes. I'm not. I like the Metcon, to be honest with you. So. But,
man, I'm a Nano fan.
Yeah.
Which is really bad at Noble. Like, okay, I mean, I love their apparel. Like, I never thought I'd be wearing a sleeveless sweatshirt of theirs. But I don't know. I'm just like such a Nano fan. I have like a super like wide foot. So I think just like I'm so partial to Reebok and the Nano because of that.
I hear you. Did you wear those during the games the whole time?
Yeah. You know, like we wanted to win 10K. There's like some events where like we have to like wear Nanos or float rides or something like that. Just in case we get first. And I remember one event, it was the sprint, and it was like the sled sprint, and Kim wore her Nobles, and all of us were wearing Reeboks, and we won our heat, and we're like the second to last heat, and we're like, Kim, if we win and you did not wear your nanos, we will be so mad. And she was like so distraught. She's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for not wearing them. And we got 8th. But we're like, so it was just like so funny. So every time that we thought we could do well, be like, Cam, wear your nanos. You need to wear your nanos.
Yeah. So after the games you guys are done, so did you guys like kind of get together and kind of, think about like, like brainstorm like what could be better with the team or whatnot, or after that, do you have any ambitions to go individual, or does anybody on your team have any ambitions to go individual?
So right now I think we're going to give team another crack because, we went into this thinking that it was going to be Aaron and Dylan's last year, and then it would just be stranded with Kim and me. And then I think Kim wanted to go individual, so it would have been me, like trying to find a team, because right now, like I love team. I've always loved the team competition. I don't think the worm is dumb or weird or anything like that, or not cool to see. Like I'm like, that's so cool. Like six people or 4 people just trying to coordinate. And it's so hard. So I've always wanted to go team, but now like afterwards, Dylan, he was like, I think I could do one more year. He's in January, he and his wife are expecting their first child. So cool. He's like, I want to bring Boston. And Aaron, I don't know, Kim was saying that he was kind of hinting that he'd be down to do it again. So I think we're going to go team, which, that I'm just floored about that.
Very cool. Very cool. So do you guys have any, I know it's like still early, but obviously Wadapalooza is coming in January, and there's even Rogue is in a couple months. So did you guys have plans of like going team to any of those competitions?
If they want to go to the Wadapalooza, I would absolutely love it. It's right here, so it'd be very convenient. It's just, I guess it's all dependent on, both Aaron and Dylan's wives are expecting around that time. So I kind of like put it out in our group chat. I'm like, guys, like we should go to Wadapalooza. Just like keep that in the back of your mind. And like, it was like radio silence. I'm like, oh, well, never mind. Yeah. I think it would be really cool. Like I've actually been looking at the Rogue Invitational and just wondering if they're actually going to have a qualifier for it. Because I know that they invite the top 10 at the games, but now I'm just like, hey, like if you want to see like the other 10 spots, like let us know, because that would be such a fun event. It looks fun. It looked fun both years.
Yeah, very cool. So you are part of the Florida Grid League. So I remember the Grid League, a couple of years ago that he had like LA, Boston, Miami, and like all those. And so that kind of broke down a little bit because like I guess they didn't have the money, but so now they have the Florida Grid League. So is that the same Grid League but just in one set location?
Yeah. So it's the same competition. They actually have it's like the Miami Freaks. Like I think they were a team like on the National Grid League because I watched it too, like back in like 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
So it's run by one of the founders of the National Grid League. So I think just because the national thing was kind of big, and because those athletes actually got salaries too. Now it's like this like little small thing, and you'll actually see them. Like there used to be like a Mid-Atlantic one and a Northeast one that I know of, but yeah, like Florida one's just like a mini version of it.
Okay, very cool. So what made you get involved with them?
So actually just one of the coaches reached out to me and was like, hi, you did well in the 2020 Open. And I was like, well, thank you. I think so as well. And he was like, have you ever thought about doing grid? And a bunch of my teammates did grid. A bunch of my people at the gym do grid. So I was like, it looks awesome, but I can't do like the butterfly muscle ups or snatch 185 5 times. Like I can't do all of that. Like, are you sure you want me? And he was like, yeah, like you'd be an awesome bodyweight specialist. I was like, okay. And I was going with one of the other coaches at the gym to our team, the Sharks. So, and that's pretty much how it started.
Very cool. So how many teams are in the Florida Grid League?
So there's 8 teams. We have 4 teams in the North Conference and then 4 teams in the South Conference.
Okay. So how do they think of all these like movements, like the butterfly, like muscle ups, and like obviously like they were doing the freehanded, the handstand, freestanding handstands push up, but way before CrossFit even thought of it. So where do they think about like all these different movements?
Man, I don't even know. I mean, I feel like, obviously, like with the National Grid League, they all showed up, but I think it was just, everybody's a specialist. So I think when it came to the gymnastics people, they were like, well, how do I make this faster? And they realized that just like a butterfly pull-up, you can just forget about passing through the hollow and the arch position, just go straight to the arch and back up. And just like little things like that, or bringing in like more specialized gymnastics, because for example, we have like an Olympic caliber gymnast on our team. And I mean, a bustle up is not even a movement. It's just how you start the ring routine. So I think like, they're like, hey, like, let's do this. And then we can just have weightlifters literally lift everything. And they decide to throw the pig in there. Well, it's called the flip sled. And just like trying to challenge us more and more, and like challenging us how to go like super fast with this new implement and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I've seen some of the videos on Instagram, and like with the freestanding handstand push up, like they do like 10 in a row, like literally 30 seconds, and they sprint back to like the starting line, then someone else gets on it. So is like, how long are the workouts, and like how many workouts do you do per like, event?
Yeah. So how it works is we'll probably, so I'm just like trying to think this through. We'll have like 7 to 8 events per match.
Okay.
And they're like all different categories, and they're also like very similar in nature, like from year to year. So it always starts with one workout called a partner forward, and it's basically just going back and forth between a guy and a girl doing like the same movement. And it will be like progressive weights and progressive difficulty in gymnastics movement, because it's usually like a barbell or some weightlifting movement with a gymnastics movement. So very CrossFit-esque. And then from there, let's go to like an only gymnastics event. So one we have is like 60 handstand push-ups, 30 deficit handstand push-ups to a 10-inch deficit, and then 10 freestanding handstand push-ups. And you just go as fast as you can. And I mean, how my coach does it is like one person will kick up and start going, and as soon as that person starts to slow down, he's just like yelling at you. He can be on the sideline, and he's like on the ground, like staring at you in the eye as you do handstand push-ups, and then he's just like saying like, go, 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 like you're slow, go, and then like he'll kick down, a girl will go up. It's very chaotic, but just like, I don't know, it's chaotic, but it works.
Yeah. So how long is a typical season?
So a typical season, it's normally like 4 months. So we'll start, I've really only known it in the COVID era. Yeah. So, but like this season, it started like 4th of July weekend, and it's going through October. And we have 4 matches. Yeah, 3 or 4 matches to go to the playoffs in October, and we'll have just basically the conference championship, and then the whole like grid league championship.
Okay, very cool. That's awesome. So
yeah.
So was your team in the championship last year at all, or?
So last year we actually had this double elimination tournament bracket, and unfortunately we didn't make it past the first day. It was a 2-day comp, so we didn't make it past. But this year we're doing it really well. I couldn't be in the first 2 matches because of the games, but right now we're 1-1, and we have 2 matches Saturday, and I'm pretty sure we're the favorites for both. So
very cool.
I'm very excited, or at least I think we're the favorites. There's one team that there's one team that's 2-0 right now, that they're the front runners of the league. And I don't know, like just seeing them, like I think we were kind of better than them.
Yeah, you got it. So I've heard from other CrossFit athletes when that other grid league was around that, you know, doing the CrossFit and the CrossFit Games and the grid league actually like did damage to their body and kind of broke them down. Like Marcus Philly always talks about it. So do you think that this grid league now is a little bit different from the national version, that like they're not going to kill you guys for not going to the CrossFit Games at all?
I mean, right now, like I don't think it kills me. I mean, granted, I'm 24, so I bounced back pretty quickly. But I mean, the movements are very similar, and it's like, okay, some things I'm doing, it's like, okay, I'm doing those 10-inch steps, the handstand push-ups, and butterfly muscle ups. But it's like, I don't know. I know like how to like toy the line between being safe and then or being like, okay, is this actually going to like hurt me for next season and potentially derail me from CrossFit, which that's still number one in my mind. Or like, all right, I want my team to like win grid this year. So I don't know. It's like one of those things. It's also like with the National Grid League, like I said, they had salaries. So I feel like there was like a huge pressure. Whereas the Florida Grid League, we're like starting to get traction again, just like the national one. But right now I don't think it's as high. So the stakes are a lot lower. Mm-hmm. Or at least like if we're hurt, we're just gonna be like, yeah, we're not gonna do that anymore.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, so obviously like I don't know if you guys train together or whatnot, but like when you guys like get together and train, are there some days that you're like, you do a lift at like 90% and they want you to go like 100, you'd be like, you're at 90, you're like, okay, that's good enough, I can't go any higher?
I mean, pretty much our practices, it's a lot more run throughs than doing the actual race. So we're just trying to get our transitions down. So instead of like actually using the weights needed, maybe we just use, I mean, heck, we use like an empty barbell one day just to like learn of, okay, these two people are doing this amount of hang snatches. And then we have to move to like the next quadrant so the next person can start. And it's just being like, okay, this person moves here and then you guys run and then this person grabs the bar so they can start again. And it's like, okay, like we don't need to use the actual weight. We just need to make sure those transitions are just like ingrained in our mind. So when it comes to game day and you have hundreds of people screaming at you and just like the adrenaline and seeing just the team across the way pretty much being at the same exact point, because like matches, I mean, each event, there's like probably like 5 seconds difference between teams coming in. Mm-hmm. And so it's just like really nailing those down more so than killing our body and just like trying to lift, like do like an entire ladder or do like 5 snatches, like, I don't know, like 225 for the guys, like really fast.
Yeah. Very cool. So do they do a draft at all, or are they looking to expand the grid league like for next year?
So there actually is a draft. There's this thing called, I'm pretty sure it's called like the Florida Grid League Trials. And I mean, all of the Florida Grid League, it's not just like limited to Florida. There's a lot of teams that recruit from like Minnesota, Texas, even like out of the country. There's a lot of people from Latin America and South America that come in. So if anyone's interested, definitely at the end of the season, they'll put more information up about the trials, and you'll have like different events based on the specialty. And hey, if you get like a top 3 or you're like, if you win that event, yeah, you're going to have a lot of teams contact you if they're trying to fill that spot.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Like a 42-year-old, soon to be 42-year-old 6'6" guy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, you'd be okay. There's a burpee to ring, and the ring, I think it's like, I forgot how far it is in the air, but we literally got murdered because like that would be like a max vertical for like the one guy on the team that can like even touch it. And it would be like, he would do a burpee and then he would like pace around so he could like literally run and then just get the biggest jump he could. And you could probably literally just read up and just like touch it.
Yeah, like maybe a
So,
2-inch jump and be like just tap it.
yeah. So I promise you, there's probably something for you, and teams want you. AKA the Sharks needed a guy to do that last year. So like never count. You're never counted out, because with me it's like I'm a very generalist. Like I am a CrossFitter at heart. So especially like being on grid, I'm like, oh, am I like actually good at this? Like I can like go fast at burpees and handstand push-ups. Those are like my things, but I'm very gritty and more 7 to 12 minute time range kind of athlete. Mm-hmm. So knowing that grid, you're only going out there for max a minute and just as fast as you can, and then you sprint off, it's definitely a different animal. So it's, like I said, it's for specialists, and being tall is a specialty.
Yes. I don't think my wife would want me to come down to Florida and just train there the whole time. She'd be pretty pissed.
Oh no, you could literally just like we don't practice much, so it's like you could probably, for some teams, they'll just fly in for the competition and then fly back. And like I said, like they're from South America, they're from, or at least like before COVID. There's a lot of people from Texas. So the Tampa Bay Brigade, since I'm in that area, a lot of the athletes go to that gym, and I talk to their coach all the time. He's like, yeah, like my guy in Minnesota can't come, and I recruited this person in like Guatemala, but they can't get their visa. I'm like, what? Like, because all my team is normally from just South Florida.
Yeah.
So it's just like super weird seeing like how the other teams do it. You just have to send a bunch of videos and then actually show up when you need to show up.
Yeah. Very cool. So we're getting close to the end. So first off, I want to ask you, so you have a tattoo around your forearm. So what is that?
So it says Fight on Fighter. It says Fight on Fighter, so I can read it, and then so everyone else can read it when my arm's down. And then I have a crown and the Christian fish. So Fight on Fighter is actually a name of a song from For King and Country, and which is a Christian band. So whenever I hear that song, I don't know. I'm a very religious person, so it just kind of reminds me that even though it like can be hard, like whatever I'm going through, whether it's a workout or the CrossFit Games, grid, school, life things, that as long as I just like, keep going, I know that God's looking out for me and everything's going to be okay. It's just like hard right now, but it's worth it in the end.
Yeah, very cool. So if you stopped, Grid League, CrossFit, pretty much chiropractic school, how do you want people to know you as?
So without all those things, I just want to be known as someone that just has persevered through life. Like I said, like I had those health complications, and that like I had anorexia and going through that, and it was just, I just kind of got hit after hit after hit. And what I just like want to prove to people is that just keep going, keep after your goals. Don't let setbacks ever bring you back, because I mean, I literally I had everything thrown in my path that I wasn't supposed to be here today. I really do believe that. So I just want to be a symbol of perseverance to others.
Very cool. So, what are your goals? Obviously, what are your goals for the rest of the year? Obviously, win Grid League, but is there any other goals, like personal or fitness wise, that you want to, achieve?
Personal, I mean, my biggest goal right now is to try to get through school for the end of the year. So I will one more semester till I'm in clinic, which that's what I've been like hoping for the past 2 years, because school's very tiring once you've been doing this for like 2 years straight. Like I don't get summers off or anything like that. Yeah. Other than that, fitness wise, my friends and I have been talking about doing a relay Ironman. So like my best friend, she was a collegiate swimmer. She would do the swim. I love biking, so I do the bike. And then we finally found someone to do a marathon. So do that. But really, it's just keep up keep up training with Misfit. There's nothing like too much on the radar right now, but probably towards the end of the year, that's when I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm ready for 2022. I'm ready for the CrossFit Games. Like that Monday, I was like, okay, let's go again. And they're like, no, Hannah, you have to wait like 364 more days. I'm like, oh, well, that's sad.
So, do you obviously you're too busy studying with chiropractic school, but do you have a favorite book you like to read?
So let's see, my favorite books. Oh man, I've heard you like ask this on podcast, so I was like trying to think of them this morning actually. Let's see. I'm a very like mindset person, so Mindset by Carol Dweck and Grit by Angela Duckworth are like super good books to just start the whole mindset and self-development journey. Other than that, like other books, I love Ready Player One.
Okay.
Love that book. The movie is definitely not like the book. That's why I try to like push people to the book. And I don't know. I love those like little stories that with like Ready Player One, like this guy made like this whole world of himself in a video game. And then he realized that it meant more to him to actually like be himself in the real world than this guy. So then the guy he created to be and something that really doesn't matter. So like I thought that was really cool. The Martian. I mean, I don't know. I'm like all over the place with books.
Yeah, hey, whatever. I mean, I like fiction too, so there's nothing wrong with that. So, and it's cool to be all over the place instead of just like sticking to one genre.
Yeah, and it's like the cool thing with books, like I'm so open to them. You can learn from everything. So that's why like I was like I get a lot from it's like my favorite series is Star Wars. And there's like just like so many little themes like do or do not, there is no try from Yoda. I mean, you can get like so many like little gems that they might seem corny in all the fiction books, but I mean, those are the things people remember.
Yeah. I'm a big Star Wars fan myself, and miraculously my 6-year-old son is born on International Star Wars Day.
Wait, no way!
May the 4th, yeah. And
oh my gosh!
And like, well, we were. My wife had a scheduled C-section, and the doctor was actually my best friend, and so a fellow coworker. And she's like, "I got this date," and I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." And then my other coworker was like, "Hey, FYI, that's International Star Wars Day," and I'm like, "This." How did I not know this? And then like my wife was I told my wife that. I shouldn't have told her that, but
she's probably like, let's reschedule the like C-section right now.
Yeah, that's what she said. She's like, oh my god, my kid's gonna be a dork, and I'm like, no, it's okay. I'm a dork. I'm a closet dork. Like no one knows like how big of a dork I am. So
no,
like,
right now, like I have like 2 Grogus and the R2-D2 I made at Disney World, like sitting right beside me right now, like as we speak. And I'm like, oh man, like so like that's awesome. I was born on May 1st. I was so close.
Oh, that's
being
really
a Star
cool.
Wars baby.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, like why couldn't I have waited like 3 more days?
Yeah. We got my son's room like all decked out in Star Wars. And so we actually had we have a rug like a flat rug with the like that snowman creature that laid out, and so that's his like little like rug in on like on top of the carpet.
Oh my gosh!
I'll text it to you.
Please do. Yeah. I would absolutely love that. Like that's just like that's like my goals as a bedroom.
Yeah, he's all decked out. Like I'll show you pictures. You'd be like amazed. You'd be like, "Oh my god, this is amazing! This is absolutely amazing." So, but anyway, so I actually started a new question, and you're the first person to ask it. So I'm gonna ask it too. So, I mean, it's I don't know if it's even worth it, but like, what's in your gym bag? Because like, I always want to know like what's in everyone's gym bag, and like, why is it so big compared to like other people?
Okay. It's actually in the car, but I can tell you what's in it. All right. So I normally have like 3 pairs of shoes. You never know what you need. You need lifters. You need nanos, because I'm going to throw those out there. I might need some running shoes. Literally today, like my friends, like I had my gym bag with me because I have my school stuff in it, and I'm like taking out like shoes on shoes, and like, what the heck is wrong with you? So let's see. Other than that, I probably have like 7 pairs of grips.
Jeez.
Yeah, because again, it was like one of those things where, I mean, I don't know, like I have like my worn-in grips I probably always use, but then like different sizes and different ones. I'm a bear complex person, so it's kind of like, okay, I have a medium, large, and extra large, and like the black diamond ones, and then a few carbon fibers. And I think it was just like at the games, I'm like, I don't know if they're going to rip on every event. Let's see, I have some BCAAs, a lot of rolls of tape for thumbs and stuff like that. Of course, like every single jump rope you need now in CrossFit. So like, you know, from your regular one to your drag rope to your heavy rope. Man, I'm probably like tons of sweatbands. Like I tell Jen from Sharpen the Axe anytime we talk that I probably need like 4 more pairs of sweatbands, because like mine are just, even though if I wash them, I'm just like, Jen, they're disgusting now.
So gross.
Like you sweat so much down here.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like I walk outside and I'm sweating, and it could be like 70 degrees. I don't understand Florida whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, so I'm in Atlanta right now. It's so like north of Atlanta. So I'm in my basement right now, and I swear it is like 90 degrees down here. And I have like literally in the back corner, I have the fan blowing at me, and it's like not even doing its just, like not even doing anything.
Right.
So, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And there's like no other place I could do it, because if I do it in the first floor, I talk very loud. So my kids are going to wake up, and then my wife's going to get mad. And so I can't do it in our bedroom because she's doing something. So it's just like, I just like suck it up and just do it down here.
So you're just like profusely sweating.
Yeah.
Like on Zoom, you're like, I really hope that people don't, it's like my guest doesn't see me just like melting.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm wearing this old school basketball shirt, because I had I had like a short sleeve shirt on, and I was like already sweating. I'm like, forget it. Like, just wear this thing. It's not being recorded, so just forget it. Just let it be.
Yeah, no, I say like that's like the one thing I miss from the north. I mean, it gets hot out there, but I feel like once you hit like South Carolina down, it's just a different kind of heat.
Yeah, totally agree. So how many sweatbands do you have? You said you had 4, or?
I probably have way more than 4. Like I probably at least have like 12, and either just like, and they could just be like I'd say like they start in my gym bag, but they'll be like in my car or like everywhere.
Yeah.
What else is my gym bag? That's like what's coming to mind right now. Oh, like I wear like Versalifts, so I have those in there. That's really it. Oh, and New Skin, like the second skin, just liquid stuff.
Yeah.
I use that all the time. If I think I'm gonna rip in a workout, I'll just put on a layer, and I don't know if it's placebo effect, but I'm like, if I have this on, I'm not gonna rip. And you know what? Most of the time, that's what happens. But
very cool.
You know, yeah.
Very cool. So, what would you tell somebody that's trying to get into CrossFit and get to the games, like what to expect throughout the whole time of trying to get there?
It's hard work. I mean, I've been on this journey now. I mean, if you just like if I start with Misfit, okay, I started in 2017. It took me over 4 years to get here. And, you know, like I didn't wake up and all of a sudden get here, or just train from the end of the open one year to the start of the open the next year. And I love training. I think I love training more than competing, and having that mindset and getting better every day, and loving going to the gym and getting to work on weaknesses, because you get to do that. Like, it's supposed to be fun. And I look forward to the gym every day. It's my stress relief. Sometimes it does cause me stress, but most of the time, like, I'm having a blast, and like I wouldn't want to be doing anything else. So if you have that mindset going in, rather than like an external goal of going to the games, but actually enjoying each day in the gym, that's how you get to the games.
Very cool. Very cool. So where can people reach out to you if they have any questions about like getting the games, or like anything about you, like not too personal, but like, you know, just like.
He's like, yeah, my phone number is okay.
Yeah.
No, no. Instagram's the best place. I'm at Go So Hardy. That's like HARDY. I mean, you'll probably see it in the title, but that's probably the best place. Just shoot me a DM. I'm normally on there all the time rather than studying right now. So please help me procrastinate from studying for finals by talking to you guys. I would love it.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for, you know, coming on the show, and, you know, I loved hearing your experience getting into the games for the first time, and, you know, even with the Grid League too. So thank you very much for doing this.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.